The wind howled across the broken plains of Outpost 9, carrying with it the stench of oil, rust, and old blood. Metal scraps clanged softly in the breeze. The sky was pale orange, and the sun burned low over the horizon like a dying ember. Ryan was a human salvager alone and covered in grease, dragging a half-broken hover battery through the yard of junk. He had been on the planet 3 days, looking for anything he could sell to the trade fleet. But as he stepped over a pile of scorched wires, he heard something strange behind a burned-out freighter shell. It was a whisper, faint, cracked, not from the wind. He paused, scanning the shadows. His boots crunched against the dry dust. Then he saw her. She was curled up near the wall, hidden behind a crate of broken panels. Her skin was covered in thick dirt and oil. Her silver hair hung in matted clumps. Chains wrapped around her thin arms and ankles. She looked up at him, her glowing violet eyes dull and lifeless. But her lips moved again. "If you wash me and make me clean, I'll bear you strong children, human." Ryan blinked. He had seen many things on frontier worlds, but never this. He stepped closer, slowly. "Are you hurt?" She flinched at his voice but did not move away. Her fingers clutched her chain, her nails broken. She looked no older than 20, maybe less. Her alien features were soft but bruised, her long ears drooping low, her breathing shallow. "I am not dirty by choice," she whispered. "My people threw me out. They called me unclean. Ruined." Ryan kneeled beside her, keeping his hands raised to show no harm. "Why would they do that?" "Because I saved a human child in the war," she said. "They said I betrayed our kind. They wiped my clan mark, chained me, left me here to die. I begged passing traders. They kicked me and left." Her voice cracked. "But you," she added, her eyes meeting his again, "you stopped." Ryan swallowed hard. He didn't know her species, be something close to the Lorellians or Vante. Her skin was naturally silver blue under the grime. Her body was thin, but she had strength in her jaw, in the way she held herself upright even. "With the weight of chains? You don't need to offer me anything," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." She shook her head slowly. "It is our way. If a human washes one of us by his own will, he becomes bonded, a protector, a father. Of children, you can say no. But if you say yes, I will be yours." Ryan looked around. No cameras, no one watching. Only silence and burning wind. He had no interest in taking advantage of her, but she wasn't lying. There was something in her voice, ancient, ritualistic. He pulled a small flask from his pack and poured water into a bowl made from scrap metal. She watched without blinking. "Can I help you out of these chains?" he asked. She nodded, but used water first. Let the first touch be with kindness. Ryan soaked a rag and stepped forward. Gently he touched her face. The moment the water touched her cheek, her eyes widened and her breath caught in her throat. Her body tensed, but not in fear. A soft glow shimmered under her skin, a pattern hidden beneath the dirt. Tribal marks began to show, lines flowing across her neck and collarbone like ink beneath the skin. Her lips parted in a soft gasp. "You feel warm," she whispered. He said nothing, just kept cleaning her face. She leaned into the touch like a child starving for warmth. As he wiped her arms, he noticed scars under the grime. Old burn marks. Rope burns.
Oh.
She had suffered quietly, silently.
But
She had not broken. "You're not weak," Ryan said. She gave a small smile. "I wanted to die yesterday. Now I want to live." He took a small tool and cut her wrist chain. It fell with a heavy clink. Moved to her ankles next. She stared at him the whole time. "I never knew humans had gentle hands," she said. "Told us your kind were monsters. But your hands, they are warm." "You don't owe me anything," he said again. "But I want to give you something," she replied. "A future, a home, a legacy." Ryan looked at her, confused. "What's your name?" "I had one," she said, voice quiet. "But they burned it. If you give me a new one, I will wear it forever." He paused. Then, with a half-smile, said, "How about Salaya, Aya?" Her eyes lit up. "Then I am Salaya," she whispered, "and I am yours now." A sudden gust of wind passed. The chains around her blew aside. The scrap wall behind her fell with a soft crash. Behind it, something glowed, an ancient symbol carved into the freighter's hull. It matched the patterns on her skin. Ryan stared. "Dat mark."
Right.
Salaya turned slowly. Her breath caught. "That's the crest of my bloodline," she said. "And if it's still here, then they never meant for me to live." Ryan stood, pulling her gently to her feet. "Then we leave tonight," he said. She gripped his hand. "Yes," she said, "but where I go, danger will follow." And she wasn't wrong, because even now, across the stars, someone had already noticed that Salaya's life signs were active again, and they were sending hunters to silence her for good. The old basin shook in Ryan's hands as he poured the last of his clean water into it. The drops were warm from the heat of the day, but they shimmered in the light like something holy. Salaya sat on the edge of his sleeping pad, her arms resting. On her knees, chains now gone, but the weight of them still heavy in her mind. Her silver-blue skin was still dirty in patches, but streaks of tribal patterns had already started showing on her shoulders and back. Glowing lines like veins of light under her skin moved when she breathed. It was not decoration. It was identity, and it was coming back. She hadn't spoken since they left the junkyard. She only followed him in silence, barefoot through the dust. Now she looked around his cramped salvager shelter, where tools hung on hooks and wires ran across walls. It was small, but safe, and warm. He dipped a cloth into the bowl and wrung it out. Then he knelt in front of her. She looked up, unsure. "You said to use water first," he said. "To let the first touch be with kindness." She nodded slowly. "Yes, that's the way of my mother's line." He brought the cloth to her arm, hesitated for a moment, and then began to wipe. This time, she didn't flinch. She let him work. As the grime came off, more lines glowed through her skin. They shifted slowly, alive like waves under light. Her breath quickened. Her hands trembled. Then she whispered, "It is beginning." Ryan paused. "What's beginning?" "The bond," she said. "When water carries another scent and skin accepts it, a choice is made. I chose you in the dust. But now my body accepts you too." He swallowed hard. Her voice wasn't seductive. It was sacred. Her kind didn't offer themselves with desire. They offered with soul. "Is it dangerous?" he asked. "Not to me," she said. "To you, maybe if you break the bond, I will live. But something inside you will not." Ryan said nothing. Wiped her other arm. The cloth turned dark with filth. But underneath, her skin glowed like soft metal kissed by stars. He worked slowly, gently. She didn't stop watching him. Then she leaned forward, her forehead almost touching his. "I need. You too know this," she said, her voice firm. "I do not offer you children because I am weak. I offer because I believe you will raise them with honor." Ryan met her eyes. "And what if I'm not ready for children?" "Then we wait," she said, "but the bond stays. Even if we never lie together, I will never belong to anyone else." He sat back. It never met a species like hers. She didn't beg for help like a victim. She asked for a life together, or a part with dignity in her voice. That shook him more than anything. She took the wet cloth from his hand and dipped it again. Her hand brushed his. It was warm, real. "My turn," she said. He smiled. "I'm not the one covered in grease." She looked at his neck. "No, but you're tired. Let me wash your hand." She wiped his fingers with the cloth, slowly and carefully, like he had done for her. The moment she touched his skin, the lights in the shelter flickered. The air around them shifted slightly like static before a storm. Ryan frowned. "Was that you?" "Yes," she whispered. "Our bond is beginning to show signs. When a human accepts contact from my kind during cleansing, the air remembers it." Suddenly, a sharp sound echoed outside the shelter, metal against metal. Ryan stood at once. pulling a plasma tool from the wall. Celia grabbed his wrist. "Wait," she said, her glow dimming. "I know that sound. That is not scrap." They stepped toward the window slit. A small probe floated near the rocks outside, scanning the ground with a red beam. Its body bore the insignia of the Kurith Syndicate, the same slavers who had traded war prisoners in secret. "They're tracking my life signal," Celia said softly. "I told you when you cleaned me it activated something old. A bloodline beacon. They know I'm alive now, and they'll come for you," Ryan muttered. "For us," she corrected. He nodded. "Then we leave tonight." "Run. They'll follow," she said. "And if they capture me again, I'll die before I let them touch me." Ryan's jaw tightened. "They won't touch you ever." She looked at him, her eyes full of something deep and silent. "Then take me to the sea," she said suddenly. "What?" "There is a river 2 hours north. My people say a true cleansing must end in open water. If you finish the ritual, they cannot claim me again. I will belong only to you, not as a slave, not as a prize, but as one who chose." Ryan looked at the sky. It was turning red. Night was close. The probe beeped once and floated off, but it would be back. Others would follow. He packed fast. Water, rations, tools, and when they left, Celia walked beside him, clean arms uncovered, tribal lines glowing brighter than the stars above. She did not look like a girl in chains. Anymore, she looked like someone rising, someone dangerous, someone reborn. The river ran wide under the moonlight, silver and cold, cutting through the rocks like a forgotten road. Mist curled above the surface, soft and silent, as if the night itself was holding its breath. Ryan stood at the edge, holding Celia's hand. She had not let go of him since they left the shelter. Her skin now glowed with full strength. The tribal lines along her arms shimmered like threads of light. Her eyes reflected the moon, calm but alert. "This is where the ritual ends," she said, her voice soft but steady. "If I enter this water while bound to you, it becomes permanent. There will be no way to undo it." Ryan looked at the river, then at her. "You still have time to walk away," she added. He didn't answer. Instead, he removed his jacket, stepped into the water, and pulled her gently with him. The water was icy and clear. It rose past their knees, then their waists. Celia's breath came in sharp bursts, not from cold, but from the reaction. It's already starting inside her body. Her species was rare, ancient, hidden in the corners of the galaxy where stories faded into myth. Ryan had only heard whispers in trade. Posts about the Valari, a once royal race who bonded for life through cleansing. If one Valari was cleaned by another species during exile, the bond became sacred, unbreakable. Now she was the last of her kind, and he had become her choice. She turned to face him fully, water rippling around them. "If you accept this," she said, "your life changes. You will feel when I hurt. You will sense when I am afraid. And if I die, part of you may never return." Ryan stared at her, then cupped her cheek with his hand. Her skin was warm despite the cold. "You didn't choose me because I'm strong," he said. "No," she whispered. "I chose you because when you saw me filthy and broken, you did not look away." A moment passed between them, silent, full. Then she reached down, scooped the river water with her palms, and poured it over his shoulders. His skin lit up briefly where it touched him. Not fire, not electricity, something older. Ryan staggered back slightly, breath caught. What was that? "You have accepted the link," she said. "You carry my mark now, not on your skin, but in your blood." He touched his chest, and it felt normal, but something was different. He couldn't explain it. He just felt warmer, stronger, a little. Less alone, they stepped out of the water together. Her hair hung wet down her back, the tribal glow now brighter than ever. She looked taller, not physically, but in presence, like someone born again, as they dressed and prepared to leave. A sound broke the stillness, a deep hum in the sky. Ryan pulled out his lens scope. A dark shadow hovered above the cliffs, a small gunship. Celia's glow faded slightly. "They've found us," she said. The gunship dropped to black spheres. They hovered, then shot toward the ground like spears of metal. They landed hard near the edge of the river and hissed open. 2 hunters stepped out, tall, clad in dark armor with breathing masks. Their skin was gray, their eyes red. Karith Syndicate. They looked directly at Ryan and Celaya. "Turn her over," one of them said. "She's not yours." Ryan stepped in front of her. "She is now." "You don't understand what she is," the second hunter said. "She's a danger to everyone. She carries forbidden blood. Her very bond can change genetics." "Saved a child during war," Ryan snapped. "That's not a crime." "To us it is," the first hunter said. "To bond with a human? To offer herself? Her people believe it will lead to extinction." Celaya stepped forward. "I am already extinct," she said. "Yes, but I will not be caged." The hunters raised their rifles. Ryan pulled Celaya behind him. His heart raced, but before the first shot fired, something surged inside him. His fingers twitched, his breath steadied, and when the shot rang out, his arm moved faster than it ever had before, catching a falling branch and knocking the plasma bolt off course. The second hunter froze. "That's not possible," he said. "Humans don't move like that." Celia's voice rang behind him like a bell. "He carries my bond now. He's not just human anymore." Ryan stared at his own hand. It tingled. It burned with something unfamiliar, something powerful. "You gave me something," he said slowly. Celaya nodded. "Your body will begin to shift," she said. "You will grow stronger, faster. Because I offered not just my bond, but my bloodline." The hunters hesitated. Then they backed away slowly. "This isn't over," one growled. "She belongs to the Syndicate." "She belongs to herself," Ryan said. The gunship pulled back. The night grew quiet again. Celaya turned to Ryan, her voice quiet. "They won't. Stop coming. Then we make them," Ryan said. "We find out who you were, and we remind them what they lost." She smiled. "You're not afraid? I wasn't chosen by accident." She took his hand again. And this time it wasn't. Because she needed saving, it was because now they would fight together. The trader's station at Hollow Ridge was nothing more than a rusted platform floating above a dried-out lake. Old cargo crates formed a wall around the landing pads, and flickering neon signs buzzed over broken food stalls. It wasn't safe, but it was neutral. No faction dared start fights here. That was the rule. Ryan and Celaya entered under the blinking lights, hooded and quiet. Her skin no longer glowed bright. She kept her face low, not out of fear, but because every time someone passed too close, her fingers twitched, as if ready to strike. They walked toward a repair tent in the far corner. Ryan had friends here, old friends, people who owed him favors. Inside the tent, a short woman with 3 robotic arms stood beside a half-assembled scout ship. "You look like hell," she said to Ryan. "And who's the glowing queen?" "Just need a ship patched up," Ryan said. Fast the woman raised a brow, Kurther sniffing around. "They say one of their assets went rogue." Celaya looked up, her eyes cold. "Is that what they call me now? An asset? A mechanic?" Froze. She had seen that glow before long ago, during the Valari Wars. But she didn't ask questions. She just waved them inside. Celaya sat in the back room while Ryan checked supplies. The light was dim. Her hands trembled in her lap. It wasn't fear. It was the bond. Ever since the river, she had felt him. Every heartbeat. Every breath. Now, something was wrong. She stood suddenly, rushed out of the room and stopped. 2 masked figures stood at the front of the tent. One held Ryan by the collar, blade at his side. The other aimed a weapon at the mechanic, who raised her arms in silence. Celaya stepped forward. The first hunter turned. His mask hissed as he spoke. "We warned you. The bond cannot protect him." Now Celaya raised her hands. "Let him go." The second hunter stepped behind Ryan, pressing the blade tighter. "He took you," he said. "Claimed what doesn't belong to him." "No," Celaya said. "I gave myself freely." "Then your mind is broken," the hunter growled. "We must end this before more fall like you." Ryan struggled against the grip. "Don't quiet," the hunter snapped. "This isn't your fight anymore." Salaya's glow rose. Slowly, her veins lit like fire. The mark on her chest, once hidden, now burned bright. "You want to end something?" she said, voice steady. "Then end this." She stepped forward. The hunter fired. The bolt hit her shoulder. She stumbled, but she did not fall. Instead, her body locked in place. Her eyes rolled back, her hands clenched. The second hunter raised his blade. Then everything changed. A shockwave burst from Salaya's chest, invisible but heavy. Tools flew off shelves. The tent rattled. Dust lifted off the floor. Green was thrown back, hitting the wall hard. The hunters froze. Salaya's feet lifted an inch off the ground. Low exploded outward, lines burning. Across her skin like rivers of flame, the hunter who had fired backed away. "She's activating," he whispered. "That's not possible. She's not supposed to." Salaya opened her eyes. No longer violent, now burning white. "I protected him," she said. "Now the bond protects me." She raised her hand and the first hunter flew across the tent, smashing through a metal wall. The second turned to run. Too late, Ryan had stood up. His eyes glowed faintly. His movements were faster. His grip was stronger. He grabbed the hunter by the arm, twisted, slammed him into the ground with strength. He didn't know he had. Silence returned. Salaya collapsed to her knees. Ryan rushed to her side. "Are you hurt?" "No," she said. "But the bond did something. It woke up an old part of me. A warrior part." He held her hand. "You could have died." She shook her head. "Not while you live." The mechanic returned, eyes wide. "You just blasted a hunter through a wall." "He'll live," Ryan said. "But more will come." The woman nodded. "Then take my ship. It's not perfect, but it'll fly. Just go." Solea stood again, slower this time. "We have to reach the Valari ruins," she said. "There's something there. A chamber. My ancestors built it. If we can reach it, we can prove who I am and why they fear me." Ryan helped her onto the ship. "Then we go," he said, as the engines roared to life, and the ship lifted off the pad. Smoke rose behind them. The two hunters lay broken in the dust. And the whole station stood, still watching the girl with light in her skin and the human who chose to stand with her. But far across the stars, in a dark chamber lined with thrones, someone else watched too, and he whispered to the shadows, "She is bonded. The prophecy is waking. Kill them before it is fulfilled." Lightning split the clouds above as the stolen ship broke through the storm, flying low over the endless forest of Varix Prime. Giant trees clawed at the sky and strange beasts moved in shadows below. Ryan gripped the flight controls, jaw tight, eyes locked ahead. Salaya sat beside him, quiet, breathing hard, her skin still glowing faintly from the last encounter. They were close. Just beyond the mountain ridge lay the ruins of her bloodline. A temple carved into stone, long before machines walked the stars. If they reached it, they could awaken the memory of her name. If they failed, there would be no second chance. Salaya placed her hand over her chest, feeling the rhythm of her bond echoing with Ryan's heartbeat. She could feel his pain, his anger, his fear. But deeper than all of it, something else now lived inside him, her strength. They landed in a clearing, surrounded by broken pillars and moss-covered stones. The wind howled between the ruins, carrying whispers of an old tongue. "This is where they buried the truth," Salaya said. "Where the first mothers of my line gave up their weapons and sealed the blood memory." Ryan stepped ahead, scanning the area. "Then we find it before they find us." They moved fast through the rubble. Salaya walked barefoot, letting her skin touch the ground. Her glow returned brighter with each step. The temple walls recognized her, and lights deep in the stone flickered awake. But peace did not last, A sharp whistle cut through the trees. Then a scream. Ryan spun, just in time to see Salaya hit the ground. A net wrapped around her body, glowing red, pulsing with energy. He reached for her. Too late. A massive figure dropped from above, armor black, eyes burning. "A Kurith commander. She belongs to the Syndicate," the warrior growled. "You had no right." Ryan raised his weapon, but a second attacker crashed into him, knocking him hard into the stone wall. Blood ran down his face. His hand shook. His vision blurred. Celaya screamed from the ground, body arched in pain as the net burned her skin. The commander stood over her. "You think this human saved you?" he said. "You think he made you clean. But filth cannot cleanse filth." Celaya tried to speak, but the energy pulled the breath from her lungs. The commander raised his blade, then stopped, because Ryan rose again. Not slow, not broken, strong, silent. His wounds were still bleeding, but he stood tall, his steps firm, eyes filled with something ancient. The second attacker moved to block him. Ryan struck fast, too fast. His fist shattered the attacker's mask and sent him flying into a pillar. The commander turned. "You can't stop me," he said. "I don't need to stop you," Ryan said. "I just need to remind her who she is." He knelt beside Celaya, placed his hand on her cheek. "You are not theirs," he said. "You were never theirs." Her eyes fluttered, then opened wide, and everything changed. The tribal glow on her body flared like fire. The net exploded into pieces. She stood in a single breath, her hair lifting with energy, her skin blazing with light and power. The markings on her body shifted and locked in too. A symbol Ryan had never seen, a crown star over a broken chain. The commander stepped back. "That mark him. Possible," said. "You are the lost heir." Celaya walked toward him, voice like thunder in still air. "I am Celaya, daughter of Valen, the last bearer of the blood memory." Bondmate of the human who did not look away. She raised her hand. A wave of force lifted the commander off his feet and slammed him to the earth. Ryan stepped beside her. "They will come again," said. "Let them," she replied. "This time I do not run. This time they will fear me." The old temple doors cracked open behind them, glowing with welcome. The memory stone waited inside. Ryan took her hand. "Ready?" he asked. She squeezed his fingers. "With you, always." They walked together into the temple. Two beings from different stars, now bound by a choice made not from power, but from mercy. And somewhere deep in space, the Kurith Council received the report. Target escaped. Air reactivated. Bond confirmed. The order was simple. Send the full force stock, crush the bond, erase the bloodline. But what they didn't know, they couldn't understand, was that the bond could no longer be broken. Not by chains, not by fear, not even by death. The temple doors sealed shut behind them with a deep rumble. Inside, the air was cold and heavy with memory. Pale blue lights floated in the dark, casting shadows of long-dead warriors along the curved stone walls. Celaya stepped forward first. The stone beneath her feet lit up with each step, responding to her bloodline, to the glow pulsing just under her skin. This was her family's place, not just a temple, but a vault of truths hidden by war and betrayal. Ryan followed close, one hand ready on his weapon, the other near her back, not to guide, but to protect. They entered a circular chamber at the center. In the middle, a stone table rose from the floor, flat and polished, carved with runes that glowed when Celaya touched them. "I remember this," she said. "My mother brought me here once. I was small. She told me to listen to the stone. I thought it was a story. I never knew it was real." She placed her palm on the center of the table. The chamber answered. Walls lit up. Ghostly images formed in the Airvalar, queens standing tall in armor, each with different tribal marks across their skin. A voice, soft but full of power, spoke. "From the stone, you have returned, Solia, last of the true line. The bond is awakened. The throne has waited." Ryan stared at the projection. "That's you," he whispered. "That's your future." But Celaya didn't look proud. She looked haunted. "I never wanted a throne," she said. "I wanted a name, a place to belong. Not power, just peace." The projection faded. In its place, a hidden drawer opened. In the table, revealing a crown made of black crystal and silver wire. Celaya didn't touch it. "It's beautiful," Ryan said. "It's a curse," she replied. "Once I wear that, the entire sector will know I live." I will be hunted not just by the syndicate, but by rival clans, power-hungry governments, even my own people. He stepped closer. You don't have to wear it. You already chose your path. She looked at him, eyes full of quiet fire. Yes, I chose you. She turned away from the crown and walked toward a side chamber, one her mother once forbade. Her from entering inside the room was simple. A sleeping mat, cradle, a recording crystal half buried in dust. She picked it up and activated it. A voice came through, her mother's voice. If you are hearing this, Celaya, you lived, you survived what they tried to erase. I knew they would turn on us. Knew they would fear your kindness, your love for humans, your refusal to see species as enemies. Now that's why I hid the memory stone. That's why I told you to run. Celaya knelt, the crystal clutched in her hands. I never got to say goodbye, she whispered. They took her from me before I even knew what I'd lost. Ryan stood behind her, silent. Then his hand touched her shoulder. You didn't lose her, he said. She lives through you. You're what you chose to be. You're not their puppet. You're not a queen because of a crown. You're a queen. Because even when the galaxy spat on you, you still showed mercy. She stood again, her back straight. Her glow returned. You're right, she said. And if I must wear that crown to keep others from suffering what I did, then I will. She walked back to the stone table and picked it up. The moment the crown touched her head, the temple pulsed with light. Somewhere far away, sensors picked it up. Silent alarms activated in syndicate space. Ships turned. Targets locked, but something else happened too, in scattered refugee camps and old Valari ruins. Ancient AI beacons flickered to life. They whispered to one another. They repeated a name, so Leia, not as a warning, as a promise. A light returned. A light returned. A bond reborn. A queen risen. She turned to Ryan, her voice calm but strong. They're coming for us now. He nodded, then let them come. She stepped into the open temple gate, the wind catching her tattered cloak. She had no golden robes, no polished throne, only scars, bare feet, and the love of one human man who never asked for anything but gave everything. The queen in rags had returned, and this time she would not kneel. The sky over Valari space turned red as the syndicate fleet dropped out of warp. 12 warships, black and silent, surrounded the old temple moon where Celaya now stood barefoot. Crowned and glowing with a light the stars remembered. Inside the throne chamber, she stood at the window. Ryan beside her, armor strapped tight, pulse steady. They brought everything, he said. Gunships, destroyers, even orbit breakers. She didn't blink. They fear what I carry, she replied, and they should. Behind them, the temple hummed with life. The memory stone had awakened not just the crown, but the ancient defense. Systems buried beneath the floor. But that wasn't her only weapon. Ryan turned as the side door opened. The medic stepped in, holding a small bundle wrapped in soft cloth. It's time, she said. The child's awake. Celaya stepped forward and took the bundle in her arms. The baby inside blinked up at her eyes, wide, glowing softly with a light no child had ever shown before, half human, half LRA, fully something new. Ryan stepped close and placed a hand on the child's chest. She's strong, he whispered. Stronger than both of us, Celaya said. Because she's made from choice, not war. Suddenly, alarm screamed through the temple. Direct strike had hit the shield wall. Stone cracked. Dust rained from above. They're coming, Ryan said. Celaya looked at the child one last. Timon handed her to the medic. Take her to the core. Lock the chamber. No matter what happens, don't open it until the light fades. The medic nodded and vanished down the corridor. Celaya turned, her tribal glow rising like fire along her arms. She stood taller now, no longer just the queen in rags. She was the mother of a new line. Outside, the syndicate sent a message. Surrender the child. Surrender the bond. You will be erased. Ryan sent one back. Come and try. The temple gates exploded. Inward armored soldiers poured through, weapons raised, but Celaya stepped forward and raised both hands. The floor lit beneath her feet. Ancient runes burned bright. The walls answered her call. Blades of pure light rose from the floor. Shields of force wrapped the chamber. She moved with grace, weaving between attackers, never stopping, never falling. Each strike she delivered sent waves of energy across the stone, knocking enemies into walls and scattering their formations. Ryan fought beside her. His movements faster than any human's, his strength unnatural. The bond had changed him fully now. Every time Celaya was struck, his heart burned. Every time he hit back, she drew power from him. Together, they were no longer two. They were one. The fight raged on. One by one, the syndicate forces fell. But then an explosion ripped through the east wall. A giant stepped through, the syndicate's high warlord. 8 feet tall, armor forged from starstone, voice deep as thunder. He pointed his weapon at Celaya. "Your blood ends here," he said. Celaya stepped forward. No fear in her eyes, my blood just began. She charged faster than light. The warlord blocked her first strike, but not the second. Her hand hit his chest. The crown on her head blazed white, and then he screamed. Because what entered his body wasn't fire. It was memory. Every death he caused. Every child stolen. Every life broken. She returned it all in one burst. He dropped to his knees. Armor cracked. Ryan stepped beside her. "Finish it," he said. But Celaya looked down at the broken warlord. "No," she said. "I will not become what they are." She turned away. And behind her, the warlord fell unmoving. Silence followed. No more soldiers came. No more ships fired. The syndicate command ship, watching from orbit, turned, retreated, defeated not by weapons but by mercy. Later the child was brought back to the chamber. She reached for her mother, glowing eyes full of peace. Ryan took her in his arms. Celaya touched the child's hand. "She will never know chains," she said. "She'll never walk alone," Ryan added. The temple doors opened to the rising sun. Outside, refugees waited. Survivors from many species, broken people, hiding for years, now walking forward slowly toward the light. They had heard the story of the alien girl thrown in the dust, of the human who washed her clean, of the bond that shook an empire, and now they came not to kneel but to follow. Celaya stepped forward, child on her hip, Ryan at her side, not as a queen, as a mother, as a woman once forgotten, now remembered. By all and deep in the stars, where war once ruled, a new name echoed, not of power, but of love. Celaya the chosen, mother of the strong, bearer of the bond.